Let's get it.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming to our pitch event by EquityMatch. Today we are hosting our three great founders coming from Israel and Australia. Although we name our pitch event today European one, but as you can see, we are very much international. So I want to welcome Yasha, Harari, Mazdak, Ghomashchi, and Assaf Ben Or. So before starting and leaving our founder pitch it because they are the main of these pitch events, and let me tell you that everyone wants to come to pitch events, just email pitch equitymatch.co. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. For any questions related to our founder today, just ask and we bring them to our founders. Now, as we start, I would like to introduce our first founder, Yasha Harari, Chief Marketing Officer of Healables Digital Health, Jerusalem, Israel, Digital Health, Sport Tech, MedTech, AI, Wearable, Fashion, Consumer Electronics, around 5 million in USD. How's it going, Yasha?
It's going great. Thanks. Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming, Yasha. If you want to give an intro to yourself, who you are, and after, please go straight to pitch.
Sure. My name is Yasha, and I've been doing marketing since several decades. I ran unpaid marketing for Fiverr and a bunch of other companies. At Fiverr, I brought 10x growth year over year over year, and I've attained similar results for a whole bunch of different companies across industries and verticals. And I joined Healables because I see how it's improved the quality of life to those who have used it. And since joining Healables, I've used it for myself for various chronic injuries that I have, and it's improved my quality of life. I used to be an oarsman in college and in high school and even after college and well beyond that. And I suffered a whole number of different injuries related to sports. And I could just only imagine if there was a device that I could wear that would have gotten me back in the game faster. Well, now there is, and that product is Healables. But before I get back into telling you about the product itself, I want to tell you a little bit about, first of all, 5 of those people. The first one is Jonathan Strauss, who suffered from fibromyalgia for many years. And after using our device, he felt significant pain reduction, so much that his pain reduced to a level that he felt basically no pain for the first time in 15 years, and decided to invest $65,000 into the company. Next, we have Bob Wood, who's a professional baseball player in Florida, and he used Healables, and it helped him recover faster and better. And Avi Yosef, a pro football player here in Israel, who used ElectroGear, our device for the sports and fitness and wellness market, to recover quickly from pain from a meniscus tear, and he scored the winning game goal for his first match back in action after using our device. And then there is Bettina Vriescoop, who is a 5-time European ping pong champion, and she used ElectroGear as well to recover from her pains and continues to use it at home on an ongoing basis. And here, Dr. Michael April, who's an expert in measuring pain and strength, is also a professional baseball player, and he's a pitcher, and he used Healables to measure the pain on himself and his strength, and he saw its impact before, during, and after games, and was able to actually increase his strength and range of motion as a result of using Healables. This is really a global crisis. There's a huge amount of people in the world who suffer from one kind of chronic pain or another, and it's a real crisis that we all have to face and deal with on an ongoing basis, either directly or because we know somebody who suffers from something like this. In short, Healables helps people empower themselves to make things better for themselves by taking ownership of their issues rather than dwelling idly in them. Healables' vision is to improve the hardware and the software of the human being. Our mission is to relieve pain, accelerate healing, and reduce inflammation with wearables and smart textiles. Our first product is actually a performance product called ElectroGear by Healables, and it's aimed at the sports, fitness, and wellness verticals, as I mentioned before. It takes a team to achieve great missions. We have engineers, business people, and doctors all working together. And as with any startup, it's all about validation. Here you see members of the Intel Ignite Accelerator program here in Israel, and among them, Healables founder Moshe Leibowitz, shaking the hands of the president of Israel in a meeting with the Intel Ignite Accelerator program. Here you can see that Merck is also involved in electrotherapy, and they're investing in bioelectronic devices for chronic inflammatory diseases. But they're turning people into cyborgs with implants that go into the body, under the skin, whereas we're letting people just wear a convenient, non-invasive device. And, you know, with most electronic wearables, you can just wear them. The problem is that most people are inelegantly doing it with wires and goo. Healables makes this all possible with elegance. We've optimized the product so it's simple to use, and we've offloaded the complexity of the product to the back end. So it's a very sophisticated product on the back end and a wonderful UX for the user, because usability matters. We are not, by the way, a TENS product for anybody who's familiar with that. We use microcurrents, and our sensors provide a constant feedback, because bioimpedance data is the actual measurement that matters the most, and we have algorithms to calculate other key metrics. These are some screenshots of our app on the ElectroGear app. Not only does the app operate the device, but it also will coach the users with behavioral coaching techniques that work in synergy with mental health. It's operated by smartphone, and it makes it really easy to use. And we have remote treatment and monitoring, so practitioners can apply the treatment even if the user is in another location. And that sets us apart from the competitors, even in a world where things are data-driven. Here's a schematic of how the system works in brief, kind of a high-level overview of it. I'm not going to really spend much time on it, but you can see there in the lower right corner, the most important thing here is that we have developed an AI layer, and that AI layer optimizes and improves the UX over time for each person. Our platform supports two distinct product lines. The first is a wellness product line, and the second that we're working on is a medical therapeutics line. And really, it all comes down to the mitochondria. This is the powerhouse of the cell. When they're efficient, the body heals. We are charging the mitochondria, giving people more energy so they can heal. It turns out that out of the 150 or so and more users that we've already applied this to and let people use this, more than 88% of the people who've tried it have reported significant improvements in their conditions. We have clinical trials ongoing with the Wolfson Medical Center, and more of them lined up with the Sheba Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in the world, as well as the Hadassah Accelerator powered by IBM AlphaZone. We have sports pilots in place with Israel's Olympic Training Institute, the Wingate Institute, and we have a deal to be announced soon with one of Europe's top football teams. And we have relationships at various stages with a number of fantastic companies, ranging from event partnerships to product integrations and more. We have dozens of patents for our technology, and our team has developed them. Our revenue model is very clear. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask me afterwards. We are seeking $5 million in investment in this current round. We all know somebody that hurts, and you can join Healables and help change many people's lives for the better, and maybe even help improve the quality of life of someone that you know. Please contact me with any questions that you'd like to go over after this presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have now. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasha. Can we start with your business model?
Sure. What would you like to know about it?
Yeah, B2B and B2C and B2B2C. Can you articulate a bit better? How do you charge your clients? Who are them?
Absolutely. So B2B, we are first targeting practitioners like physiotherapists, sports trainers, coaches, sports medicine professionals, people who work with athletes, or people who are just, working with regular lay people who are exercising normally, and they might suffer some kind of a sports injury. So we are enabling the professionals to teach them how to use the device so that they can make sure that the patients or the users are using the devices properly. Once the user knows how to use the device properly, they can, of course, continue to go to the professional in clinic, but they are also able to purchase the device if they want. So that's B2B2C. if they want to buy the product and use it at home, because again, it works remotely. It connects via SaaS to the cloud, to the system that continually optimizes them, their results and the protocols that they're getting, because the device delivers a unique protocol for each individual. It's not a one-size-fits-all protocol. It's really customized to the person. So that's the B2B and B2B2C model. And so we have different pricing models for the professional SaaS as well as for the home user SaaS. And then, of course, we have prices for the device itself. And if people buy them in wholesale amounts, different pricing as well. And the textile as well come with a price, so do the electrodes. So all those things can be monetized from the business point of view. And then there's the whole side of the medical reimbursement, which comes later when we release our medical side product, the Healables product itself. Once we pass through the FDA steps that we're aiming to go through properly, then we will have a proper and a really optimized medical reimbursement mechanism in place, which is really kind of the thing that makes it very differentiated from other products that are similar to this in the TENS space, but we're not in TENS. We're an actual microcurrent device, which is why we're going through a more laborious process of FDA approval and all that sort of thing, so that we can really optimize the reimbursement product. And rather than getting a $50 reimbursement, you can get thousands of dollars.
When it comes to the monthly annual fee, right? If I'm going to subscribe to your, let's say, home, am I get the device and the textile for free, or I need to pay for them?
No, you buy the device and you buy the textiles or the electrodes or whatever combination you want. And then the SaaS is for the home user is $10 a month. So that's just a data feed fee that just costs, some dollars a month. For clinics, we charge a little bit more because they can monitor up to 100 or so, patients per clinic or users per clinic. So they have a lot more of a data feed going on. But it's, it's a low enough cost that it shouldn't be a barrier for clinics.
Are you holding the production or it's done externally?
Yeah, we produce them. There's different parts made by different people. We, we assemble them in-house and do the QA and all that stuff in-house before it's shipped out.
You have a very distinct, you have the software and after you have the hardware all together. Now, where do you see this application? Today you have the wellness ready to go, and the medical one is coming later. So let's come to the wellness. Where do you see the best use for your devices?
So the use cases, like you said, we're going after first our sports, fitness, and wellness, which are verticals that don't require the whole FDA approvals process first. And they allow us to do not only proof of use, proof of data, proof of concept. They allow us to gather a whole lot of user data, and it lets us expand from there into other niches where people are getting routine motion or repetitive motion injuries. It could be musicians, carpenters, gardeners, plumbers, builders. Anybody who's doing repetitive motion might be getting these injuries, from slightly torn muscle to aches and strains, or from headaches. Like I said, fibromyalgia is another treatment that people are getting into, are starting to use this for. There's a wide range of disorders that are inflammatory or musculoskeletal. So on the sports, wellness, and fitness side, we have those niches pegged down, and we're expanding by going through professionals like teams, sports teams, etc., and professional coaches and trainers. And then on the medical side, after we've run more clinical trials, which we're already running and launching more of them soon, then we'll be able to do a wider range of disorders that are more on the medical side. And the number of people, there's already a number of services that use microcurrent style technologies, but again, they're covered in goo, or they have all kinds of extraneous wires, and they're not mobile and they're not remote. Ours work in all those ways. They're remote, they're mobile, they have their own app. It's convenient, it's on the phone, and the electrodes are dry. You don't need to put any goo on. There's no wires hanging off all over the place. It's convenient. You can use it while you're moving around. It's an absolutely elegant way to do this kind of treatment on people, or for users to go through this kind of treatment for the sports side as well as the medical side.
based on the actual users, how do you scale this business?
How do we scale it?
Yeah. Yes.
Meaning, how do we scale to a larger market?
Yep.
Well,
First
there's
of all,
770 million people around the world who suffer from one kind of chronic pain or another. So there's a lot of people in the world who are affected by this, by the various disorders that Healables can treat. Everything from, it might be, when the medical side is applied, things like diabetic neuropathy or osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia, headaches, removing yourself from the need for opioid addictions. Right? There's this helps people get off of opioids as well, because again, all the protocols are unique. It's not a one size fits all, one of these like magnetic bands you wear on your wrist and it heals all your problems. No, this is actually customized, unique to the user, and it's a continually optimized loop using the AI powered information loop and feedback and the healthcare coach that will help people with their behavioral and their mental use of the device and choices that they make in order to optimize their health for the long term, because it helps people also find a calm and an inner peace, that a physical inner peace that helps your body recover and heal better. So the scalability is absolutely potentially enormous, because you've got literally 1 in 8 people on the planet who are suffering, or 1 in 9 people who are suffering from some kind of chronic pain that could benefit from this kind of thing.
This 5 million A round is given for, what's the use of this fund?
The use of the fund is for a lot of production and expanding into, getting out the product to more professionals in the market that can then use those products on more users and have them, experience the benefit of using this product, and then scale it out further into different markets across the US, across Europe, across Asia, and wherever else there are a lot of people who can benefit from using this. So it's everything from manufacturing and production, obviously some marketing, distribution, branding awareness, and the gamut of the high-tech marketing and high-tech business space.
Yasha, thank you very much. Stay with us. Don't go, because we bring all of you back, guys. Meanwhile, I'm moving to a second fund. Thank you. Mazdak Ghomashchi, founder of Zixxth SOLutions, Adelaide, South Australia, clean energy, clean tech impact, and sustainability, seed around 100K in USD. How's it going, Mazdak?
Thanks, Max. So,
Thank you.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm the founder of the Zixxth SOLutions. I'm very much a go home, go big or go home kind of guy. And what I'm about to present to you tonight is just half of the Zixxth story. I hope it piques your interest. So Zixxth SOLutions, Sol, like the sun, is all about the concept of fundamental sustainability. That means the entire lack of degenerative properties whatsoever. And so sustainability is about far more than just emissions ratios. It's a power provider. Think the Subway of fusion power. You think Subway, you think it's the healthy option in fast food. It's a franchise and it's global. Zixxth SOLutions is that alternative in energy to fossil fuels, wind, solar, other technologies, what have you. So we are a global franchise of fusion power plants selling clean, healthy, fundamentally sustainable energy to our customers, who are utilities retailers, to help relieve the burdens of self-generation and the accompanying hurdles like sustainability regulations. We're going to maintain the current billing cycles, doesn't matter what they are. First, through power purchase agreements, so direct contracting. Second, on local energy markets. And just here are some of the main players down here in Australia. And we're going to be incentivizing 3 points. First, what's the plan to be the leader in fusion power? We will be the healthiest option. 2 is that we're 10% cheaper than the competition. And 3, being an infrastructure operator's incentive. If you have faults, we'll take care of it. So if your transformers explode or your power lines topple, we'll take care of it, because the alternative is state-sized solar farms and other accompanying types of technologies, which are fundamentally unsustainable. Now, the technology, which I myself have engineered with part of my scientific background, is a self-sustaining fusion reaction, which is far more efficient than controlled fusion. And having spoken to the utility sector, they agree fusion is their future. They just need to see viability, see that it works. Now, just here are some of the many benefits of self-sustaining over controlled fusion. And for example, if you get a 3,000 megawatt reactor, you can cover about 1 million homes. And this is what it will basically look like. Square footage wise, it's like your average stadium. The technology fits within the perimeter of the field. And you can imagine it like this. We have a facility, it's connected to already existing transmission infrastructure where retailers sell it to homes, for example. How does it work? It's a combination of particle acceleration, magnets, and EM waves, not to replicate conditions for fusion reactions to occur, but actually replicating how stars are born. And currently, there are roughly about 7,000 potential customers worldwide. And the fusion industry is estimated at being worth 40 trillion once it gets underway. Now, unless controlled fusion finds a better alternative to heat exhaustion for power generation, then self-sustaining fusion will be the better option. Now, this business is based on the coupling of IP and trade secrets, and other things such as revenue generation are fairly traditional. A bit of background about myself. I'm primarily a scientist, but I also study history, anthropology, so civilization. I'm a martial artist as well. And what that really all means is that it allows me to observe the problem from a wider perspective more agnostically, as opposed to having a field or industry specific view. I'm currently in the process of bringing on business partners as co-founders, one with understanding in building a business, the other focused on the engineering. And a note about our competition. Really, we don't have competition because we're all working in fusion, but it is both my perspective and an increasing industry perspective that controlled fusion is better suited for other applications such as transport or propulsion. And you take folks like TAE or Helion, they say they're going to get it done by 2030. Both their commercial plan and their technology is a lot smaller scale. Now, lastly, yes, Zixxth SOLutions is currently looking at a 100K US pre-seed seed funding for proof of concept and branding work, promotional work. But being that we are located in Australia, South Australia, networking is somewhat difficult. So the main ask really is that if you know anyone who is interested in fusion, in energy, in sustainability projects, direct them our way. And lastly, we're on all the platforms. We're on LinkedIn. We've got a website. We're on TikTok, and that is where the other half of the story is. We tell that. So that's Zixxth SOLutions. Soul like the sun. Fundamental sustainability. Remember that term. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mazdak. That's an ambitious project. Now, let's start from the end, from the funding. 100,000, it brings you where?
So part of this process is being able to demonstrate that the technology does work beyond, let's say, already proven experiments, for example. So most of the funding will go towards the modeling. So like mathematical modeling, simulations that show that this specific configuration will work, even though you take like Livermore National Labs, they have proven that the end goal is possible. But also some of it will also be devoted to branding and promotion, and that's really conveying what the value of the Zixxth solution is over, let's say, the conventional approach to energy and the conventional approach to fusion power.
I mean, where do you see, again, in developing such a pretty massive project at the very beginning where you are today, where do you see the most challenges coming from?
Well, it's still nuclear power, and even with, let's say, public scientific understanding coming along with, like scientists and public science educators, it's still that sort of, there's a lot of skepticism to things like safety concerns and all that. So it's really about perception, both public perception as well as industry perception.
You must go to several steps and be approved by so many authorities before be able to do something similar. Is there something that
That's
will cost you so much time and money? Do you take into account this?
Yes, it indeed will take some time, fair bit of resources. That's where some of the contacts, the networking, the assistance comes in. It is a fairly heavy regulatory issue, especially in Australia. Although there's talk about amending some of those regulations. So even like pilot plant will take a fair bit of work. Yes.
I mean, Australia is one of the most oriented carbo users in the world, I believe, like China and many others, India, for example. Uh, I can see something similar, not easy, it's very complicated to talk about easier, but more in somehow less difficult, let's put it this way, in Europe, where there is so much talk and action on green, although never is enough, and we are just getting started. But how do you believe can you go through deploying something similar in a country where actually there is not that much still action in green, very little?
Well, what I've been able to do is from the interactions that I've had with people in the positions to make these decisions is that it seems to be fairly much a public opinion sort of thing. So part of the process of building this company and getting to the stage of, let's say, building a pilot plant and getting things going is telling the story, telling the people the story of why this is something that should really be backed and should be looked at, and getting them to urge their decision makers and stuff like that to really take fusion power on it, just on its own, even if it's not particularly Zixxth SOLutions, into serious consideration.
Wait, this is nuclear fusion, right? Which is it's something conventional somehow, and but very much targeted by many. Because I'm a big fan of nuclear. I truly believe it's the only scalable solution is nuclear. I had zero doubt, and with wind and solar powers. But we can't absolutely generate enough energy only with solar and wind. We do need hydrogen. I don't think can be never possible. I do we need nuclear, but there is so much skepticism around nuclear powers. Then wherever, even very much close to you, Japan, although I think they will start pretty soon. Uh, Now, moving away and talking more appropriately about your business model, how much do you need to go up to the end of these 5 years and get your first plant running?
That is, in all likelihood, going to be in the half a billion to a billion venture funding for a pilot plant.
And my second question is how do you believe you can attract so much money from zero?
Again, it's the Zixxth story. So part of what we're doing, what many will ask is, why Zixxth SOLutions? Why are you valuable? Why are you unique? And the answer to that question is that everyone else, whether it's fusion technology, whether it's solar, whether it's any new idea that's out there, all you're getting, all you're investing in, all you're supporting is technology. And this might be a bold opinion, but the truth is technology itself doesn't create change. What does is a much bigger story, but the value here is that we're taking technology and we're really doing something with it that's really, say, throwing the industry on its head, throwing the way we do things on its head. It's all about perception. It's all about thinking. And that is the Zixxth story.
Mazdak, unfortunately, we don't have so much time, but thank you so much for coming and pitching your story today. And don't go away. We are back soon. And I'll move it on to the last, but of course not the least, founder. Assaf Ben Or, founder and CEO of Greeneum Network, Tel Aviv, Israel, carbon emission, seed around 2.5 million in euros. Actually, Ben, you are raising 5 million, 2.5 has been already committed, and this is why you're asking 2.5, which is very important to say because it's validation. Now, please, if you want to give an intro to yourself, and after go straight to pitch.
Hello, so hi everyone. My name is Assaf Ben. I'm the founder and CEO of Greeneum. And my background, I'm an engineer, trained in different places in Israel, in Germany, and worked with international projects in the field of solar, renewables, and lately also in blockchain and AI the last few years. And also I worked in some few startups in Israel, but global companies as well, as SAP, and established my first startup a few years ago in the field of solar energy. Today, this startup was very successful, and today I'm going to present you Greeneum, which is helping the industry to accelerate the transition to renewable energy and eventually net zero carbon. So imagine a world, basically, when we would be incentivized really to reduce our emission and to use more renewable energy. Imagine that we would get more cent for every solar energy megawatt we're producing, or wind, or for really doing effort for the environment. So in Greeneum, this is a project that aims to do it. Eventually, we enable and optimize and incentivize reducing and trading the carbon emission through different ways in order to foster sustainable development and climate goals. We do it with personalized AI and blockchain technology. Established in 2018, we made fundraising from professional community and immediately sell some tokens and certificates to our professional community of accredited investors. We developed POCs and pilots with different partners around the world, utilities and energy companies. And today we have already a product running and patent pending IP and professional team, which is in Israel, also in Europe, and in the US. Today we are raising $2.5 million in order to complete our challenge, to work with the energy ecosystem. We have other 2.5 committed, and eventually, if we talk about the carbon market, we see that the carbon emission market and the offset market, the compliance market and also the voluntary market, both are in a tremendous increase in the coming years. And this brings both opportunities to the market, but also challenges to verify, to check that these carbon emissions were really saved in the right place at the right time. They were not double traded, they were not false, and their value the price reflected full value. So why to work with Greeneum? We have a verification of carbon emissions and carbon credits algorithms implemented in our platform, working with global projects in real time. We work on blockchain technology, which is fully dedicated for sustainability, renewable energy, and carbon emission reduction. That helps to increase trust in every carbon emission or carbon credits, security, transparency, traceability, we know where the projects come from, and saving cost. And eventually, it's immutable, and then nobody can change the data afterwards, and it can be followed to the original. Our business model consists of three main revenue streams. We have a SaaS AI platform helping with the project management and having different APIs, depends on the project type. We have solar energy projects on the platform, but also wind and forestation and carbon captures and other from the types of renewables. Our other revenue streams is, of course, certificates and credits traded and verified by different registries and organizations, and a project bank for managing basically all these projects and sorting them by type, they're already established, or future projects, with all the data and verification inside. Our carbon credit verification services, including the accounting, the offset verification, the pricing verification, tax credits in future projects, and also option for project financing and building economical plan for the project according to the carbon emission saving and the eventually the project properties. When we talk about the carbon offset platforms, our platform connect end buyers, eventually companies that they are big polluters. We work already with shipping companies, with different polluters from the industry, energy companies, and other from the supply chain, traders that basically participate in the market and stimulate it, brokers and sellers. Just find our revenue streams from the marketplace of the carbon, the SaaS, and eventually the project or the green fund, solar API. We have a pricing, I won't get into that, but opportunity of the funding is mainly goes, the use of funds mainly goes for scaling our product in the global market and helping us to enter into work with bigger clients today. We have different exit strategy. Our team is global. We collaborate with companies like IBM today and KPMG, Microsoft, Deloitte, and others to create carbon emission trust and also support our development. Our team, as said already, competitive landscape in this area is quite unique, that we have both the incentive to our users and both the option to execute real-time analytics and forecasting, and eventually the trading in one platform, which is the advantage of Greeneum. So that's all. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer your questions if you have any.
Thank you, Assaf. Let me start with a question not that much related to your venture. Of course, we go there, but with the market. Is carbon credit something that will really help to tackle carbon emission and lower the use of carbon itself and CO2 emission? Do you think this is something that really helps? Because sometimes I'm a bit skeptical.
Yeah, so it's a very good question. In our platform, of course, we try to bring verified carbon credits. First of all, they reflect real action on the environment, on renewable energy. This is important for many countries, as Brazil and developing countries in Africa and Latin America and Asia, to conserve, first of all, their nature and forest. And we give nature, we give the forest in Italy, we give the forest in Germany and other places now a price. Until now, they didn't have a price. We kept on them because we wanted, but now the nature, when we want to cut the forest and make a field, grow soil, or bring a cattle on it, then we need to price. What will bring us eventually more financial value? I mean, of course, we all want to save the environment, but it's very important that the good aspects of the carbon credit market will be also emphasizing and supporting the nature conservation and also development of new projects with the support of further capital, increase the ROI from project using the credits, and building new technologies this is also not less important, like fusion, carbon capture, and so on. So this is an important tool, of course, but it's important to verify that there are no double counting, that there is the right pricing, that it's not false credit, and this is where we put our money.
Wait, which mechanism do you use in your platform to verify and adjust all this information that you have to keep on board, elaborating between who's going to issue this credit, who's going to buy this credit? And you have the brokers and the traders as well.
Carbon traders or project developers themselves, they can benefit from the platform because they can find partners to help them develop new projects. They can find partners to help them to also buy these credits, maybe even future credits at a good price. And eventually we build a trustee of affiliates and validators that they make cross-validation of the projects. Therefore, we are active globally and work with local customers and partners to re-verify these credits. They are sometimes coming from distant areas, and they are also involving the local communities support. Eventually, our vision is really that the local community globally is actively supporting in reducing the carbon emission and also in validating information that exists on the platform.
You have already 5,000 projects, which is astonishing. Where these projects are coming from, and also, if I have my project, I'm a green project, and I would like to bring on your platform, there is any limit at the lower? So, I don't know, 200,000 project maybe doesn't make any sense in any form of impact, for example. There is any limit and any kind of specific requirements for project to come to your platform?
Yeah, so basically we work mainly when we establish the platform. Many of the projects are coming from Asia, India, Africa, Latin America, some of them in Europe, in Israel, of course, and few in the UK today. In order to submit a project, there is a procedure of verification, and we collect, of course, the specific location and the address, all the documents related to the project, and also on the owners of the project or the management company of the project. This is all goes to our system also through manual validation and also through automatic validation. We can identify normally this project in the satellite and verify them. And afterwards, in order to verify real-time emission, we connect some APIs. They see that the project is active and running. And we have a third-party validation as well, that the project is getting the final validation by third parties we work with, could be experts in the field of carbon emission, project developers, and energy companies that we invite to participate on the platform and be part of the trade and validation.
And when the blockchain come into place?
So eventually, verified carbon credits are registered on the Greeneum blockchain, and then the transfer of ownership is done without intermediaries and directly peer-to-peer. And could be different kinds of every certificate, every credit has a different ID and is connected to a metadata that eventually not is saved directly on the blockchain, but encrypted in a way that it's also private, but also you can trace it where it comes from. And you can verify it's not traded funds.
In terms of fundraising, these 2.5 million, how they are going to be deployed?
So we going to deploy it by, of course, we have additional 2.5 coming from angels and from grants. And this has helped us to put the main budget we collect now from investors in market commercialization of the product and entry to new markets, and working with global partners or partners which have much more projects 5,000 projects, one partner, and it could be even more than this. And this demands that we prepare for these customers all the onboarding process automated and all the eventually customer support and business development in place. So that would be most of the funds. Of course, also admin and regulation.
As we are close to our closing today, but can I ask you to articulate a bit more your business model, because it's pretty vast. You have, I think, 3 business models or something similar.
Yeah. So the first business model that we have is, of course, you upload a project. We would like to get the reports and insights on your project. So we have insight reports and SaaS platform. And for this, we charge the price, which is changed according to the number of projects and the complexity of the project as well. The second is the trade itself of the credits on our platform, of certificates, and this or direct emissions. In this trade, we charge a normal commission of change from project to project, but that's the business model. And the third is eventually the project, the financing related to development of new projects. Many of the projects, they have a potential to execute their carbon credits or issue them, and they need further development, further infrastructure. And this is on a project bank, they have the opportunity to find these services.
Ben, thank you so much, but don't go, because we're bringing all back now. I know you need to go and run into another place. So as we always close, I'm starting with you, Ben. So if you need after, you can leave us. I like asking the passion behind. I do believe founders that with great passion are the one who really succeed, and why invest in your startup. So Ben, what's the passion behind you that drives you here and it gives you so much energy to go ahead, and why invest in your startup in a very short sentence?
Yeah, so what drives me is also to see how we can incentivize and accelerate the transition. I see so much pollution around us, and I don't see like a real change in our habits as we need, and a real change of the industry in new technologies, in new infrastructure that I think they should explore their full potential. So that drives me the topic of carbon emission, and to see how we can make the best of it and give it a financial value eventually that will drive the industry. And to use the blockchain technology can be really disruptive in different ways. And of course, with the support of AI verification, that brings me the passion. And I think to invest in us, because the market, as I show, is huge now. A lot of opportunities, a lot of sectors. They're only the same. There is a new regulation coming in place, both in Europe and in the US, about disclosure and scope 3. So I think like investment in Greeneum is a great business, a great thing also for the investors and also for the whole industry.
Thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate your effort to make this world a better place to live. And we need so much green. Will never be enough. That's the reality. Thank you so much. Mazdak, what's the passion behind you? And why give so much money?
Yeah, there are a lot of passions, a lot of inspirations here. I'll put it like this: I'm inspired by adventure and the hopes of making a vibrant world. And like I said earlier, the alternatives are just the technology. What the Zixxth solution is doing is taking that technology, reading it, doing something with it that's going to create change in perception and thinking and the attitude of how we do things.
You're missing the second part. Why give you the money?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. We're not just technology, we're a lot more. And that lot more, check out our TikTok page Zixxth SOLutions, where you can really learn what that means. Find out more.
Thank you so much, Mazdak. Yasha, we
Yes.
close with you today.
Right.
What's the passion behind you and your team? Say hello to Moza, which has been a while, and why investing?
Right. Well, for me and for the team, what we are aiming to do is to help restore humanity to a better state of health. And we want to help people reduce the pains that they suffer through day to day in their life.
What happened?
Product for various verticals in the market. We already have seed funding that has demonstrated that there's an interest from investors, and we're making headway onto our next round of investments. So from my point of view, this is an incredible opportunity, and certainly I am delighted to be on board, and I hope that the smart investors who want to participate in this kind of AI-driven data tech, wearable, smart technology will see the opportunity and join us on this incredible journey.
Yasha, Ben, and Mazdak, thank you so much for being with us today. I really enjoyed, as I always do. I love talking to founders and everyone, and I'm a true believer venture capital is the only way to make the world a better place. And thank you again to everyone. Thank you all, everyone watching today's pitch event. I'll see you next week. For the next 3 weeks, we go live only on Tuesday. We are going to miss Thursday as we go through the summer season, and after we start full in September. Thank you again to everyone, and good evening, good night, or good morning, wherever you are. Thank you.
Sure.